Okay, I think this is all running, so good evening, everyone. Oh, let me put my face light on. Good evening, everyone. Sorry that I'm so late tonight. We're going to do a relatively short stream tonight. Just kind of recapping the Magnolia N-Scale weekend, the Erik Seildelmann N-Scale weekend, which I just got home from, actually, like an hour ago. Not even an hour ago, like 30 minutes ago. So, my desk is a mess because I was trying to wrap projects up and keep working on projects and stuff. It was pretty much right up until I left on Friday. Listen, Paul. Hey, Paul. Hey, Dennis. Good to see you guys. I'll probably only be live for, maybe an hour tonight. Just kind of catching up on the N-Scale weekend that I just got home from and hanging out, maybe doing a little bit of detailing work on a couple of engines, but pretty much just chillaxing and catching up with you guys. So, hope everyone is having a lovely evening themselves. I know I am pretty tired, but I had a great weekend, so it was, the tired is worth. So, like I was saying, I just got back home from the Erik Seildelmann Memorial N-Scale Gathering down in Magnolia, New Jersey. Where's my glasses? Let me get my glasses on so I can give my eyes a little bit of a rest. There we go. But yeah, so I just got home from the N-Scale Gathering, which was fantastic. I had a great time. Picked up some nice stuff for fairly cheap. Looked at some other great stuff and didn't buy it because either I missed it or just generally, things were a little some things were a little more expensive than I was willing to spend this weekend, so I passed up on them. But I did grab some pretty nice stuff. So let me pop over here to my rolling stock boxes real quick. Let me do that. There we go. There I am. Hello. Let me pop over to my rolling stock boxes real quick and grab everything that I picked up this weekend. And we can talk a little bit about that, and then maybe do a little bit of detail work on a couple locomotives here. Oh, and I also have a couple of boxes to open. Hey, how's it going, Jason? It really was a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for all that you did for coordinating and everything. It was really a fantastic time, and I just want to thank you for all that you did to make sure it went off well. All right, let's grab some stuff here. Got these. I got these. It was a very New Haven weekend for me, which was fun. It was good for my New Haven collection. These are the boxes I need to open. Packages. Try and work on this. 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 Something in here. Maybe there was nothing in this box. It was just that in the other box. Okay. I'm gonna say that's everything. I'm gonna go with that's all it was. Okay. Registration open today for the Altoona weekend. Needless to say, you're now registered. That's fun. As much as I would love to, I just don't think it's in the cards for me this year to get to Altoona. Something may change, finances and such may adjust, and I may actually be able to make it as it gets closer, but right now it's just looking like it's not quite gonna be the year for me. So next year we'll have to do. Okay, so You know what? Let's do these first because these are gonna be fairly quick and easy, and then we'll jump to what I picked up. Just quickly block out this. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else is new because I wasn't live last weekend or last Monday rather, because I was taking the night off to spend some time with my girlfriend out in Connecticut, which was good to catch up with her and spend some time and not have to rush to get home for a stream or anything like that. So I had a lot of fun doing that. Alright, so let's start with this package, and then we'll jump to the other one, because this one's little. Remove all this rolling stock out of the way again. Yep, August 15th and 16th in Altoona. Or not Altoona, that's September. August 15th and 16th in Strasbourg at RMPA. I might be able to get down just for a day. I'm not going to be able to bring my modules for sure to that. I can't. Well, there's a slim chance I'll be able to bring my modules down for that, but it's pretty unlikely. So. But I might be able to get down for a day. I was talking with several people this weekend about the Strasbourg event, including Ed K. Sr. And I was thinking I might be able to get down for a day and bring a train to run for a while. But I'm just probably not going to be able to bring some modules. But that's a cool event, and I'm sure that's going to happen again in the future, so I'm not too worried about potentially missing that one. So first off here, we got a little package from eBay. Let's go ahead and carefully open this up. This should be, yep, 20 pre-wired LEDs. So those should allow me to not need LEDs for a good while. And last week I got 200 910 ohm, or yeah, 9 to 10 ohm resistors. So between these 20 LEDs and these, I think this is 100 or 200 resistors. 200 resistors. So between this and this, I shouldn't need to get anything for lighting for a little while, which is good. So I should be set on lighting projects for a little bit. And then we have this box from the WMK Walthers Inc. Let's cut that open. This is for a couple projects that I'm hoping to get a good start on in time for the NERPM, since we're all just shouting out events that are coming up now. I'll be at the NERPM, which is the end of May. In Marion, Ohio, N-Scale Weekend, the 16th and 17th. Unfortunately, I definitely won't be able to make that because the 16th I'll be at the Danbury Railway Museum, volunteering there to help them out with a railroading merit badge day that they're doing. We're at Scouts, which we got. So this is, it says 1 ounce Chinese red. But that's not all that's in here. This is a big old box of True Color paint. We've got DM&E/IC&E blue, Chinese red, New Haven Hunters green, U.S. Army green, Northern Pacific dark passenger green, and some just flat black. No waiting hours for a box opening, unlike Heath. Yes. I try and get these done pretty quickly. I think the longest it's taken me to get a box open is like 30 minutes or something like that. Pardon me. But yeah, so this is a good group of paints. These two, the Chinese red and the DME/IC&E blue. These are both the red and the blue that I'm going to be using on my bicentennial unit for the BNCCS. Excuse me. I figured it's worth it to get some nice quality red and blue, because there's other things I can use that for. The New Haven Hunters green, obviously for anything that I want to paint in the Hunters green scheme that the New Haven had. And then the Army green and the NP dark passenger green are to hopefully try and replicate the New Haven's Pullman green, which wasn't actually Pullman green. It was their own kind of like, it was a bit more olive than a true Pullman green. So between these two, I'm hoping I can find a good mixture that will work for that. And the black is because I realized I didn't have any black true color. And since I'm trying to kind of standardize my paints for rolling stock on, you know, some high quality stuff, picked up all of that. So that is my packages for today as my mail call. So let's get these out of the way. I'm gonna put them in my paint drawer for now. I'm at the point where I gotta start getting a nice rack for all my paints. And of course, as soon as I placed that order, by the way, that order of True Color paints, I remembered at least like 3 or 4 other True Color paints that I really should have put in with that order, but those can wait. And things like a white, things like a silver, things like trying to find a couple of reds or blues that will closely match the BNCCS colors. So I was like, well, next time, next order, those will be coming in. So now let's take a look at all the things that I picked up at the NCAL weekend. Again, it's airbrush. I use airbrush. I only use a paintbrush for weathering, really. I try to do pretty much all of my painting with the airbrush because I can get a much better finish than I can with the hand brush. Not that I haven't done any hand brush painting of rolling stock, and these do work. They need several coats, but they will work to just hand brush them. Just not very well because they're pretty nicely thinned. I do thin them a little bit more anyways to shoot them through the brush, but they are already fairly thin. Okay, so let's take a look here at the things that I picked up from the NCAL weekend. So we'll start with the only we'll start with the 3 non-New Haven things that I picked up this weekend. I picked up 2 main central cars, a 50-foot and 40-foot boxcar. You asked because you got a few bottles and noticed what? So let me zoom my camera in a little bit here. Which camera is it? This one. Pick a video, camera control, zoom. There we go. So yeah, I got a 40-foot and 50-foot main central boxcar. The 40-foot is fairly nicely weathered. And of course I just knocked a wheel set out of the truck. There we go. Much better. But this is Mech 5055. It's got some good weathering on it. It's got, you know, a little warning placard about there not being a roof walk. So this should be able to work in my, in really either of my eras, but really mostly for my later era stuff, my freelance stuff. And I also have Mech 9507, which has the small pine tree logo up in the corner there, and a silver door, as opposed to yellow door. But they're both the kind of forest green that Mech used. This one has a roof walk, so that car will do very nicely on some New Haven trains. The other non-New Haven piece of rolling stock that I picked up this weekend is an ESM, Eastern Seaboard Models, X58, PRR 113751. It's got a couple of green patches, which is pretty nice. I have to look up some prototype photos of this to see when, you know, what the deal is with these, but it is pretty nice. It does have the roof walk, which first time I took it out of the box, I popped it off. I think I might put it back on there. I haven't decided yet if I want to put it back on or leave it off and then just touch up some of the roof weathering. But either way, ESM products are always good. Brian Busey of Eastern Seaboard does a fantastic job. And I'm also always happy to have some of his rolling stock because he is also a New Haven modeler. So, but this will fit in nicely with either of my New Haven or my New Haven or my BNCCS era stuff, because it'll be pretty much new in the New Haven era, as long as you ignore those patches and the ACI label, and it will be, you know, well used for the BNCCS. So I can make do with that. So a very nice boxcar to have picked up this weekend. Josh, good evening. Welcome in. Happy that you're here. Don't worry, it's a night to be late because I started late. So no worries there. Let's see, what should we do next? We'll do these next. So next up, we're gonna go through some all the New Haven stuff that I picked up this weekend, which is quite a bit for very reasonable prices. So first thing, we have not one, not two, but three New Haven script letter boxcars to add to my collection of script letter boxcars. I just want to check these here to see if one of these is a duplicate. Okay. Yeah, one of these is a duplicate for one that I already have, so I will be renumbering 153 to maybe 154 or something like that. But certainly 3563 is custom decorated, custom decaled, and I do see the barest signs of decal film on 35476, which isn't even in frame. There it is. So I think this one might be custom done as well. But both 35 476 and 30 563 are both nicely, light weathering. So those will do well for my New Haven Air trains. And that brings me up to 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 script letter boxcars now, I believe. 8 or 9 script logo boxcars. Because I've also got this one, which I picked up while I was traveling to the RPM up in where was it? Rochester. Picked that up in Syracuse while I was heading my way up to Rochester for the RPM back in February. And then I was gifted the Microtrains 3-car set back in recently. Wish the New Haven Modern look included Hartford in the name, as in, as far as on rolling stock and so on. I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, the McGinnis look is divisive, to say the least, so. And speaking of the McGinnis look, the new look that McGinnis put on, I picked up a Microtrains 50-foot fish belly gone in the McGinnis look. Sounds good, Dennis. Thanks for popping in for a bit. Good to hear from you. Good to catch up. And see you around. Have a great night. But yeah, so I got this McGinnis logo New Haven fish belly 53-foot gone. It came with a nice little scrap load in there, which I will accentuate with some weathering, of course, on the car itself. But this is a nice car to add to my collection. Add another gondola to my collection. I only have a handful of those. And I think this is a resin cast. Either a resin cast or plastic molded load. Either way, it's nicely decorated. So that was a good pickup. And I actually didn't even notice that it had the load until after I'd already purchased it, which was pretty nice. I also picked up in the McGinnis era lettering a custom painted and lettered NE6 caboose C574, which is in the kind of flat red, kind of caboose red, as opposed to the bright red of the earlier cabooses. So it adds a nice, interesting new color for my New Haven cabooses. And this is beautifully weathered. It looks really nice. I just need to add a little bit more road grime and it will be good to go. And I think I might also need to replace the wheel sets, because while these are metal wheel sets, it did have some difficulty with free rolling. So this is a really nice pickup, and in addition to that, it came with a figure. There it is, a little train crew member who I will be putting on the one of the porches of the caboose to be hanging out, watching out the back of the train. I believe the figure probably was mounted on the one of the porches and just got knocked off over time. But, excuse me. That was a nice pickup for me to find, because I'm always interested in new NE5s, or NE6s. I need to build an NE5 and NE4, actually. I almost got, I think it was an NE2. So one of the shorter cabooses. But I didn't wind up picking that up. But what I did wind up picking up, and this is the last thing that I purchased from the show as far as rolling stock goes, I purchased a beautifully decorated and nicely, a nice kind of base level of weathering, I picked up this lifelike RS2. So this will work very lovely with whenever I get its decoder figured out. This will run nicely with, this is 0505. It'll run nicely with 0507, which is the Cotto model, which I custom painted to match the prototype photo from out in Massachusetts that I was working on last year in time for the NERPM. So that'll be a nice looking consist, a pair of RS2s. And on top of that, they will run well with my RS3 number 551, which is, I think, what we will be working on tonight. As I was running 551 this weekend, because it was a key part of my New Haven fleet, because it's the only New Haven locomotive I have so far that has sound in it, which is something I will be fixing, hopefully relatively soon. But when I was running this, I realized while I had added the steam generator exhaust stack here behind the cab, I had not added the steam generator intake vent, which should go about here on the short hood, and I have not yet re-added the single chime air horn, which should sit in between the two. And while I was thinking about that, I realized that the RS2 fleet also had those. And I actually want to pull up some reference photos for me to confirm that, and confirm locations were the same on those, and confirm that 0505 and 0507 both had steam generators before I go through that work. But I think that's what we're going to do a little bit of work on tonight. Either that or continue work on the New Haven baggage car. I've been in a very New Haven mood recently. I've been spending a lot of time and a lot of effort working on my New Haven fleet, which has been very fun to, kind of get up to speed with that. And I've been working on doing some kit bashing for my New Haven C425, which is an in-progress project. I actually wasn't able to run that this weekend because it was in progress and I didn't have it ready to go. So it's a little bummed that I wasn't running that, but had some fun regardless. Actually, what I should do while I'm pulling up reference photos for myself, I will play for you all a couple of videos that I took this weekend of my New Haven train that I was running, because I was very happy with the train that I was running this weekend with my New Haven rolling stock. I thought it was a very nice looking train. So I met some really fantastic people this weekend as well, by the way. Of course, I got to see and hang out with Billy and Danny of the Rail Brothers. They brought their Hopewell along with my Hopewell. I brought my Hopewell, they brought their Hopewell, which allowed us to do our dueling Hopewells again, which is always a good time. Like I had mentioned, I met Ed K. Sr., Ed Kapuscinski Sr., who was fantastic to chat with, and he had his, what was originally a N-track module, but he built some adaptations into it, and a couple of adapter modules to turn it into a T-track module. But what he modeled is Strasburg. He modeled the Strasburg Railroad where you get on the train, and he modeled the exterior of the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania across the street. And that was a really neat looking module, and I don't think I took any pictures of that module, which I really should have. But that was a great module. And then, in addition to Senior, I also had the wonderful opportunity to meet and get to know a little better Ed K. Jr., Ed Kapuscinski. Kapuscinski? I'm never quite sure how to say his last name. But he's much better known online as Conrail 1285, because that's when he originally planned on modeling, was December 1985 on Conrail. He's adjusted things a little bit since then, and is now modeling the late 70s on what's now the Northern Central. But it was fantastic to meet and catch up with him and get to talk to him face to face and, you know, exchange modeling ideas and things. Sorry, my videos are taking a minute to show up on my computer. There they are. Okay. We'll go right here. Pause that. All right. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. And you all can enjoy that while I pull up some reference photos for myself. So this is my Rainbow Era set with my SDP-40F pulling it. I took these videos, excuse me, as part of celebrating A-Day. Friday was May 1st, which is of course Amtrak Day. It was the Amtrak turned 55 this year on May 1st, so had to run my Amtrak train as part of testing to get it running. That was going through Hopewell, New Jersey on the Rail Brothers module, and here it is going through Strasburg. So I did take this video of the Strasburg module. If the video ever loads, that is. Why is it not playing? There it goes. So that was all Friday during testing of the layout. And like I said, to celebrate A-Day. This was the train that I was running on the T-Track module, which is slightly different than the one that I wound up running on the Fremo module later in the day. Or later in the weekend. This was the only video I took on Saturday. And now I got some lovely photos that I took when I was running on the Fremo and layout on Sunday. So I met John Olejnik's late New York Central passenger job with 3 Century green E-units on the point. So we used it as a nice photo op with my RS3 and his E8. And here is that New Haven train running on the Fremo layout, like I was saying. So some of these cars, like the EL cars, obviously are a little bit too modern for what it should be. And obviously I need to weather all of the new cars and some of the old cars too, like those Tofsy cars. But regardless, it was a really fun train to be able to run around, and I got some good compliments on it. So there's at one point of the Fremo modules, and here's another. Absolutely, Josh. One of the things that I almost bought this weekend was an H1644 in the McGinnis colors. And if I had gotten that, actually no, that wasn't in the McGinnis colors. That was in the the original orange and green. If I had gotten that, then I would have had all 4 mainline locomotive builders that the New Haven had built represented on the train. The Alcos with the RS3, the EMDs with the Jeep 9, the GEs with the U25B, and of course, then I would have also had the H1644 representing Fairbanks Mars. The Jeep 9 is one of the next things that I really want to. I want to put the sound. That's the first thing I really want to put the sound decoder in N scale, because if I rewind back to it, as the power goes by, you'll see I did model it with Hancock air whistles, which is what the New Haven Jeep 9s received. There they are. And so having that little sound detail would be very fun. So I'll let that train go by one more time as I'm looking through some reference here. This is great reference for early. I just wanted to make sure that the RS2s had steam generators towards the end of their lives in the McGinnis schemes. Assuming the RS2 survived into Penn Central. That's something I think they did, but only barely. I know that the RS2s were some of the first power the New Haven phased out. I'm trying to remember why. I don't recall, and I'm not seeming to find anything at the moment on it, so I might be SOL for giving you an update on that. Also, my OBS seems to have frozen, which is fun. Why is that so? Oh, there we go, it's back. Okay, you were gonna say that maybe the EL cars might not technically be out of hair if they survived the... Well, so that train would have been fine, because that train was all, that train had the RS3 on the point, not an RS2. So, that train, absolutely, that could, maybe that's the story, you know, we're early into Penn Central, you know, it's 1970, all those locomotives haven't yet been patched. Trying to find out what the deal here is. You know, I don't actually. I think that the Penn Central or the New Haven RS2s might have been phased out prior to Penn Central. I can't. The thing is, I can't seem to find any documentation on any of the RS2s after around 1962. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is, what happened with them. Going down a rabbit hole here, which I don't know if it's worth it for me to keep going down. New Haven 05, excuse me, 05. Alright, well, here's a photo of 1962 of 0505 with steam generator. The only difference that I have here between my model and that is... Oh, I forgot. I'm not showing you... I should be showing you this. Bam! There you go. So the only... Let me get all this rolling stock out of the way. Got all this stuff in my way. I'm trying to find an answer to. The enigma of railroad history. The things that you can find and the things that you can't. But I found a photo of 0502 in 1962 with a steam generator in the black and orange scheme. What was the date? Shoot, what was the date on my reference photo for 0507? I should find that again. Because that was later. I think that was like 64, 65. That was in South Hanson, Mass. So the only difference in my reference photo for 0505 is the exhaust stack for the prime mover. I gotta go ahead and open up the camera again and configure video again. So we get the zoom again. There we go. So the difference in the reference photo I found for 0505 is that we have here the exhaust stack in its original water-cooled configuration, parallel to the long hood. Whereas the reference photo I have has it in the air-cooled configuration, which is what they were later rebuilt with, which is centered on the long hood and perpendicular to it. So I might have to do a little bit of finagling on that. Excuse me. Images. Why can't I find this reference photo now? Man. I can't find anything tonight. So I did find the reference photo, by the way, of 0507. I just found it. It only says late 1960s, so I'm gonna guess 66, 67 maybe. So that's the latest now that I have documented proof of an RS deal. My guess, if I had to guess, I would probably guess that the RS2s were put out to pasture in 1965 or 1966. From, you know, as they were replaced. My guess is they were bumped off the roster and put in the yard and retired. As of when the U-25Bs and the C-425s showed up on scene. That would be my guess. But I have nothing to prove that. But the timeline would roughly match. Penn Central's roster on Railroad Picture Archives did not list RS2 as a model of the roster. Really? Because I thought they at least had some off the Central. Interesting. Yes. Yeah. So it looks like they only had 6. They had 6 New York Central RS2s as far as what I could find from the diesel shop. There you go. That's the only RS2. Oh wait, hold on. There's another RS2s. Apparently they had 1 off the Lehigh Valley for some reason. 2 off the Lehigh Valley because they had 212 and 210. Why they had those? I don't know. So that would leave 8 RS2s on the roster as of 1969. Anyways, that's enough of that yabbering. I just have to decide what I want to. So I want to take a look at this shell here, and then honestly, I'm probably gonna wrap stream for the night because it's getting late and I'm pretty tired. Was that the 211 trade? Maybe. Might have been. But yeah, apparently Penn Central had 210 and 212 off of the Lehigh Valley, according to that webpage. So I'm going to take this shell off ever so carefully. And we'll take a look-see at what's underneath. Hello. Okay, so it looks like the stack is molded in. So if I want to maneuver it, it's doable. I just have to carefully excise the stack and then rotate and center it. So it was Penn Central traded 211 to the LV. It was the XPRR. Gotcha. That makes sense. John, good evening. You're here as I'm leaning towards the end of the stream here, but it's good to have you here. Okay, so what is the difference here? Why is this decoder causing issues? Well, that one's running fine. This is something for me to figure out off stream, really, but I want to know now. I don't know. Anyways. Long story short, there is some work to be done on these RS units. But first thing I think I want to do, which I do think I want to do tonight, just real quick before I wrap the stream, is I want to finish the actual model work on 551. So let me bring up that webpage that I had up for myself. Which is this right here. Ooh, pardon me. Okay, I see. So, let me grab my styrene here. And let's get to cutting. So for anyone who doesn't know what I'm trying to do right now, let me quickly bring up my reference photo for you. So this isn't 551, this is 553, but this is one of the New Haven RS3s. You can see here is the steam generator exhaust. But here, this little mushroom vent here is the steam generator intake. And it's basically a little rounded square. And so it should be fairly easy to model. And it's looking at these prototype photos is making me realize how much I need to widen out the hole for my steam generator exhaust. Sean, good evening, my friend. Good to see ya. Lots of T-Track for me this weekend at the Erik Seildelmann N-Scale Gathering down in Magnolia, New Jersey. I'll start with that, because that looks like it's about the right size. If I put it on here, yeah, that's about the right size. So now let's grab my file. Actually, let's just do this. Oh, styrene down. I've cut it too small now. All right, we get a fresh piece here. Videos. I do have some videos. I showed them a little bit earlier. Showed a couple. I didn't take nearly enough photos or videos this weekend. I know Billy of the Real Brothers took a good number of pictures and videos, and he's been posting those up. I did take some nice overall footage, and actually let me grab that real quick. Not near. Excuse me. Got my camera all turned on. Not nearly enough footage of trains actually running. I was too busy running the trains. So I might wind up asking Billy if I could borrow some of his footage to post up myself. While I get this sorted out, I'll play some of these videos for you of, pardon me. Of the overall footage, the overall layout footage. There's also going to be, I'll probably share this. I won't repost it. I will probably share it. Ed K. Sr. Went ahead and ran a camera car around the T-Track layout. And I'm really excited to see that footage. I think that footage will be fantastic. Here you go. So here's your little overall. So we had T-Track, N-Track, and Fremo N all here this weekend at the Magnolia Community Center in Magnolia, New Jersey. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. let's go ahead and jump ahead to the T-track layout. There we go. So this was the T-track layout that we were running. Running a Northern T1, pulling a Reading and Northern Freight. Billy saying hi there in the background. just saying hi. Yep. Some really nice modules at the show this weekend. Here you can see the one of the Strasbourg trains that Ed K. Sr. was running all weekend. Between him and his son, they've done a lot of work at modeling the Strasbourg Railroad very nicely. Alright, let's go ahead and jump to the next video here. Oh, it was a great time, Sean. On in the Blue Comet, I see. There's Danny's Blue Comet with the BLI locomotive and some Micro Trains coaches. There we go. Some more of the layout. We had 3 loops running because we had a pair of junctions. Here is Strasbourg, which was one of the highlights of the layout, at least for me, honestly, because it was modeled really well. There's some of the rolling stock. There's Strasbourg 89, Pensy D6, some of the reference photos that he was sent from the folks at the Strasbourg Railroad, and the model itself. And there's the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in the background. There's my orchard module.
You want to drop off a tank car and pick up that one? The blue one? Alright, so I'm going to pick up first. You see it.
Doing some switching in. There's my New Haven that's my New Haven passenger job. There's a small yard. We had a small yard on the one loop and a big yard on the one end, and a big yard on the other end, which allowed everyone to get their train set up no problem. Here's the T1 again. It's all the Reading and Northern freight cars. Some nice wide corners, or end caps. These were a nice set of sports fields. A nice little airplane-themed gas station, SO station. Then we had a drive-in movie theater, which from time to time the layout owner Jason would put on, or the module owner Jason rather, would put on Tom's Tank Engine, which is always fun. Here is Billy and Danny's Hopewell, New Jersey. Always a beautiful set of modules to see. There's the Hopewell Station. Freight House, Chocolate Company, Warehouse, great modules. Some nice little porcelain house modules, which was cool to see. Pretty fun. Lovely Reading Railroad passenger terminal here. Or passenger station, I guess. It's not really a terminal. A little Pensio 260 running the Strasbourg job. We have C&O passenger job sitting at the far track at the station. New Jersey Southern was the kind of hosting T-track group. Nice little freight house here. Little street row here. There's the Blue Comet again. Around Susquehanna freight job with B40-8 on the point. Nice modern day freight train. A little local job. A couple Cardella trash gondolas at the end here. Again, all nice wide corners, which was great for the passenger trains. Nice little park here, some nice trails. A really neat work in progress, I think it's a wire mill from modeled after somewhere actually in North Jersey. I can't remember the name of the town off the top of my head. Beautiful job. The other side of the junction here. Good evening, 3 Spike. Unfortunately, you're here kind of right towards the end of my stream. Started there late, but ended pretty much on time. I think they were 19-inch curves.
Your second car's off the tracks.
And here is Hopewell Junction itself. They were either 17s or 19s, Johnson. I'm not sure which. I'm not familiar enough to just know it off the top of my head.
Sharp angle to it, so
there's
I can
Dr.
see the
Yellow.
Angled.
Well, that's one reason why I'm testing this, because the club that I belong to, their layout.
Great. Thanks for stopping in, and all is well. I'm just showing off some footage of the New Jersey Southern Erik Seildelmann N-Scale gathering that I was at this weekend. The other layout that I ran on this weekend was the Fremo N layout, which was also a beautiful layout. Smaller than the T-Track, but of course, since it's Fremo, some more cohesive and realistic scenery. Not that you can't do realism in T-Track, and that's something that may or may not be, worked on in the future. We'll see. I don't want to say too much, but there might be some more about that coming out in the future. Oops, wrong direction. There we go. Here's the train going by on the Fremo layout. EL Heritage, not Heritage Unit. Bicentennial Unit. And a Bicentennial Caboose. You were on earlier? Oh, nice. Oh, I can't remember. Nice little corner ravine module here. And then a big old plastic mill. Plastic silos. Quonset hut. Little corn farm. Some nice late fall, early winter scenery. Coming into a town here in New Jersey. Can't remember the name of the town that this is modeled after, but it is modeled after a specific town. Anyway, go to the DuPage show. I was not at the DuPage show yesterday. I was here. Does that look like about the right size? No, it looks like it's about too big. Alright, I'm working on the model as I'm fiddling here. Or as I'm showing off. I'm fiddling as I'm showing off the footage here. This is my friend Brad's beautiful brass Santa Fe Northern. And nice little freight train. It's beautifully weathered. And a nicely lit caboose as well, with the markers there. I tried to get some footage in the cab. I didn't quite get the camera to focus right, but there was a couple figures in there and a flickering LED in the firebox, which is cool. And here's the return loop with the ever-cycling oil train. I did get some footage of my New Haven passenger job running. I couldn't remember if I did or not. This is back on the T-Track. Running through Hopewell. And here's my train running through Hopewell, New Jersey. Must have gotten itself a little bit lost. Went to the wrong Hopewell. Sounds good, 3Spike. Good luck with that wiring tomorrow, and have a good night. And here's my train going on my orchard module to kind of wrap up the night, I believe. think that's the last video. Oh, one more video coming through the station. And that is the last video. I was right. So I'm just gonna finish this up real quick. Get this to roughly the right shape. Let's see, is this about right? That does look about right. So I will quickly bring up to show you what I've been working on while I've been off showing you guys the footage. Here is that intake vent. I think I've gotten to about the right size. I need to do a little bit more sanding to round it out nicely, and then I'm going to mount it on a thin piece of other styrene to just get it up that 2 scale inches above the surface of the long nut. So I'm going to get that done off stream because I am quite tired after it's been, unsurprisingly, a very long weekend. So with that, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry tonight's stream was kind of off schedule, but hope you all enjoyed. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you all on the next track.